Okay, so I start the tape up again because I don't want to be asked ahead of time, because what people do is they'll have their friends tell them the questions and then they'll have the answers rehearsed. No.
Okay.
You go on TV, you go live. So you got to kick out right there. There's no rehearsal. You find out what you're made of.
He's doing it live.
So, okay. So I'll start back up. Okay. Listen, now we have questions. Today's December 14th, 2017. This is part 2 of my video here at the Department of Justice on 13th and I. And so the first question is?
About voting.
About voting. What is your question?
Okay, so it does trouble me that people don't find it important to vote, or they just aren't tied into the process, so they may be the member that can vote, where they get a ballot in the mail, but they simply don't vote. So my question is, how will you win if people aren't voting? Is it just judged by, do they just count the votes that come in? So 1% of the membership votes, and whoever gets the most of those votes wins. That's the first part. And then the transparency of the counting of the votes. How transparent is that, so that we can be sure that whoever wins is actually the winner?
Okay. The voting. The first part, people must vote. Currently, the way you vote is either you go to an area that they deem necessary or authorized by Local 1000 to vote, or you can vote by absentee ballot, and you send your ballot in. Those are the 2 ways that I know of on how you vote. In order to vote, you must be a due-paying member. On your pay stub, on deductions, it says SEIU 1000, and in parentheses you should see a D for dues-paying member. That means you're eligible to vote. If you don't see the D, then you can't vote. However, you can fill out a membership application and vote in the election. So there's really no excuse for a person to not vote. So you say, then why don't people vote? Why have they stopped caring? Well, everyone has an opinion. Some people say because of the furlough fiasco, and we took a strike vote, and we didn't go on strike, people were really upset over that. Some people say the 2012 side letter agreement, when we were under a signed contract from 2010, and we had already given up 1 day's pay in the 2010 POP, then we gave it up again in the 2012 POP. And for some people, that was too much. They said, forget it, I'm not voting anymore. Then last summer, there was an NGO campaign. Some people thought that I, Richard Lewis Brown, was part of that campaign. I was not part of the NGO campaign. Why? Because real Americans vote. And as a service member, U.S. Air Force, I realized the importance of voting. And so I served the country so people could vote. If you want to stand for the flag, great. If you don't want to stand for the flag, great. You have that freedom. But the one freedom that I want you to exercise is your ability to vote. It's crucial to our country. It's why we tell you all the other countries in the world, we're number 1. Why? Because we vote for leadership. We have a say in our government. So let me get to your second part of your question about the transparency. Well, everyone has an opinion about the transparency. Some people say there is no transparency. How can we trust the vote count? I say this. When you vote, you should take a picture on who you voted for. Whether you vote for me, whether you vote for the current administration to have them reelected, or you vote for someone else. As long as you vote, and you can take a picture to show that you voted, there's your transparency. And then if someone says, well, Richard, they say you only picked up 200 votes, but I have 400 people emailing me pictures that they voted for me, and they sent it in by the deadline, then now I can do a protest, and I have the evidence. So I tell people all the time, you're quick to take pictures and put them on Facebook of your family, your friends, your work site environment, how it's unsafe, it's unpleasant. You'll take pictures of everything on earth but how you vote. Now, the recent CalPERS election, they allowed you to vote by mail. You could call in, or you could do online. And I actually posted my CalPERS vote online. So there's no excuse for us to not take pictures on our vote if it's that important to us for new leadership in our union. But those are great questions.
Okay. Richard, do you know if there's, like for the people that aren't due-paying members that can vote, is there a deadline by which they have to become due-paying members in order to vote in that upcoming election?
Okay. Is there a deadline to become a dues-paying member to vote in the election? Currently, by the bylaws, there is no deadline. As long as you sign up to be a member to vote by the deadline, then you should be able to vote. But it gets tricky because when they mail out the ballots to people, if you're not a dues-paying member, you won't get one. So if you wait to the last minute, if you go to a voting booth and you fill out an application, then hopefully they'll let you vote. But you're taking a chance doing that. So you're taking a chance on confusion, a perception that maybe your vote got lost because you signed up at the last minute. But you can sign up at the last minute to vote at the voting booth. But as far as mailing ballots, if you're not on the roll when they mail out the ballots, you won't receive one in the mail. So, and that question has come up a lot of different times. And I would tell people, don't wait to the last minute to sign up to vote. You know, you should never, ever give up your right to vote. Now, some people were mad about the salary stipend. Now, I hear a rumor that our current president, she's going to give up the salary stipend to show solidarity because of the Supreme Court case. I don't know how true that rumor is. I think if she does give it up, that's fantastic. But some people went NGO because of that salary stipend. And I would ask them, this country was based off of the vote. They took a vote to fight England, King George III. That was off a vote. We're Americans. You don't ever give up your right to vote. And for women who got the right to vote many, many years later, I don't understand that. And someone says, well, me giving up my right to vote is my way of voting. You're not producing change by giving up your right to vote. You have to vote in America. So when people complain about the country and where it's going, did you vote in the election? Again, voting produces change. You have to believe in voting. Anything is possible with voting. So, are there any other questions? Yes.
I have a question. I feel helpless. How can we help? How can we help? Can you advise us? How can we help get the word out to motivate people to vote in general?
Mm-hmm.
And how can we help you get your message out in particular?
I love to hear that. I love to hear that. How can you help me get the message out? It can be as simple as talking to your coworker, talking to your family and friends about the importance of unions in America, and the importance of voting. And so what I'm really asking people to do is spread the message. Again, the website, realamericanspy.com. You can sign up for my weekly newsletter. You can call me. If you're afraid to talk out in the open, you can call me. We can have a private conversation. You know, my address is on the website because I'm transparent. I don't have anything to hide. But you have to communicate with other state employees about the importance of this upcoming election. It's really, really important. So that's how you can help me. Now, if you have a special skill, you know how to send out emails to really communicate to people. You know how to shoot videos, because I've been asked to shoot videos. That's fine. Because when you're the new person on the block, it's hard to get your name out there. So when you go through emails, which they say the state email system can only be used for operational needs, so you have to go through a person's personal email, even though in our contract it says incremental use, and this is about our union, everyone has their interpretation. But going through Facebook is really important. And a lot of people think that if they can't be the center of attention, then they don't want to help. And I've always told people, this is about sacrifice. This isn't about me. This is really about a promise I made to Genevieve on January 6, 1996. So all I want to simply do is help you get higher wages. And for some people, it's not really so much the wages, it's the respect in the workplace. They feel like their cases don't get grieved, that the union doesn't care, and that the union is in cahoots with management. I can't prove that, but this is what I hear from a lot of different people. So, just by spreading the word. Are there any other questions?
We're going to be having another union meeting in January and in February. I know you're doing your campaigning. I'd like you to meet with our other members. This is right now, we can have at least 2 to 3 times the amount. And I'd like you to come in and speak. I want to hear you. I want to hear your voice. I like what I see. I've heard good things about you between Michelle and Blaine. And as the steward, chief steward here at DOJ, I want you to come out and talk to my other members. If you don't mind, please.
Absolutely. I would love to come back again and talk to everyone all over again. And the most important thing, and I keep telling people this, yes, I would like for you to vote for me. But you know what's really more important to me than just voting for me? It's the fact that I want you to vote in union elections. Somehow we have to spread that message that voting still matters in America. Somehow, some way, the young people must realize that these 8-hour workdays, these lunch breaks, these vacations, you would not have this if it was not for the union. If you're under the impression that they can't cut into our pension yet, you're wrong. Because you pass laws one day, and then you make amendments to those laws, you change laws the next day. Ladies, here at the Department of Justice and gentlemen, you work with attorneys. You know what they say openly, you know what they say behind the door. Laws change. We cannot take anything for granted. So yes, I would love to come back. It's really important that people vote. If they don't want to vote for Richard Lewis Brown, that's great. As long as you vote in this local 1000 election, that's the most important thing.
So I got a shortened time, so I told Michelle and Blaine that I would just come by and say hi and shake your hand and then invite you to
Thank you so
our
much.
next meeting or two, okay?
Thank you so much.
Good, thank you.
All right.
So I'll talk to you soon.
Okay,
Okay.
Are there any more questions? Okay, that wraps things up. That was part 2 of December 14th, 2017 at the Department of Justice, 13th and I. Thank you, Michelle and Blaine. I greatly appreciate it. Thank you.